I am a struggling Christian. I'm struggling in my life, and the only link that I'm really having right now is that radio station.
I always hear the right song at the right time, just when I need it, and I don't know how you guys know to do that, except it's just God working through you guys.
WGTS 91.9. Hey, good morning. We're Brandon and Becky.
Looks like it's going to be a nice day ahead. High near 80. Could get some rain again this afternoon. Music right now from Building 429.
I believe that my finding your station was heaven sent. And I always have it on, and I don't listen to anything else because this is perfect for me.
I love your station. If I'm having a hard time with something, I'll just turn it on.
When I was in Iraq, I listened to the station online all the time, and a lot of folks that heard it, they were listening too. So, WGTS is helping to build up our soldiers. I thank God for your station.
My commute to work and home is an hour each way. The music, the ministry really speaks to my heart, and I really appreciate the dedication.
Kids love it. WGTS has touched me so much. Great station.
I listen to it continually. I turn it on in the morning. It's the first thing I do. Leave it on all day. I have a radio in my little office area that it's the last thing I turn off at night.
And this is our 50th year of broadcasting at WGTS. To be a ministry and to stay relevant, the message doesn't change, but the methods do. It's about making contact and building those relationships and finding the best way to do it. If you can find a point in common with somebody and talk about it, they're more likely to open up to you. And as they open up, you're able to talk about God with them.
A lot of people don't have their first encounter with God at church. They have their first encounter with God by a friend, or a person that they know who's a Christian, or something that somebody says, or a song that they hear. Those things can do things that church can't.
I think the goals for a radio station like this is to, number one, get the word out there that God loves you. First and foremost, to be a source of encouragement for people who just may need to hear something positive.
Life over the weekend. It's called My Weekend Was Great Because.
This song by Scott Crepane, Sometimes He Calms the Storm, has kind of become my song. So I had my Walkman on in my coat and was listening to it on the bus and waiting for my husband at the notary. And we walked into the notary's office, and I still had the radio on. Had one of my earbuds in, taken the other one out so I could hear what was really going on. And the notary asked my husband, what are you guys here for? And he handed her the folder, said, well, we're here filing for divorce, just need everything signed. She opened the folder, and what song starts playing on the radio? But my song from Scott Crepane. And it was just like God was giving me a hug. He knew I needed it at that precise moment.
And I'm driving in tears because, God, I don't know how I'm going to make it. And I'm crying, and there comes Brennan and says something silly on the radio and makes me laugh. And they say something that just brightens my day. They play something that just carries me through.
My marriage, things deteriorated, and then, I went through very hard times in my life. I had to leave home with my daughters, and then I also was driving to New York for 5.5 years, work in New York. And at night I left home at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and that's when that radio really helped me, because I didn't have any friends at that time. I was really going through by myself. It was my only help that I had.
I had a stroke about a year ago, and one Sabbath someone came in and brought a radio, and Sligo church was about to come on, and Ron Havison was preaching, and the sermon was on the forgiveness of Jesus Christ. And I was so moved, I just cried. It was almost like coming right all over again. And so the guy also was. So he said he wanted to go to that church. So I was so thankful to God that I was there, that I had the stroke, because this soul who had been to church in 25 years was a heavy smoker and heavy drinker and was a womanizer. He now had a chance to get into the kingdom. I know it sounds strange, but I thank God for this stroke, because if I hadn't had the stroke, I wouldn't have been listening to the station.
Through all the years of this depression, that's been the hardest, because I hadn't had a church home, but because I heard Ron Halverson's first sermon one day, it was replayed. I chose this to be my church home,
And I know that there are so many people out there that are encouraged, and this is the only ministry that they have in their lives right now.
Sometimes when I'm low, the moment I hear this music, anywhere I go, I know you're not far away. You're right here. That gives me a prayer point. Then I'll be saying, Lord, let me know you are here. Let me know you are here.
I learned from the station that if you have faith, you're never alone. That's something they kept telling me.
If the music is playing, Lord, you reign. You are ruler of all the nation. Then at the stoplight, I lift up my two hands to, Lord, you reign. You know, sometimes people look at me like, did she just win lottery? Or
we might not call each other after work or come by and share bread, but I have come to know the fruit of your ministry by listening to the message that you speak.
So I don't know that you guys understand how powerful and how God is using this ministry and to touch lives.
Second largest non-commercial Christian station in the country. 250,000 listeners. That's all God.
Washington, D.C., it's the nation's capital. Everybody from the world is here. It's like broadcasting to the world. We have a full signal. It covers 6 million people. WGTS can talk to congressmen, talks to people in the Pentagon, talks to people in the White House. That's just a kind of influence you don't have anywhere else.
Hello, this is Pastor Terry. Thank you for calling our prayer line.
Pastor Terry Johnson from Sligo Seventh-day Adventist Church and New Community Fellowship. He takes calls from listeners. He talks on the air with people. He responds to prayer requests. With 40% of our audience unchurched, I need somebody to be able to talk to people more seriously about God if they're really interested in looking for a church home.
A good tree doesn't bear no fruit or bad fruit. There's good fruit, and there are results, and we see those in changed lives, and it happens every day.
Radio is a very personal medium. You're constantly talking to one person at a time. We're just having a conversation with you. We're living life on the radio, and I think that's what really matters. The relationships and spirit we have here at WGTS just come right through the microphone. You can't fake it. They're family. I mean, we're one big family. This is not like working anywhere else.
Ultimately, our goal is to be able to just really reach out to our listeners at the end of the day. We're reaching people and we're making a difference, and I want to be a part of that.
It's a great crew of people, and every single one of them are here because they want to be here. They're here because God's called them to be here, and they're here because they're making a difference.
I feel like when I work here at WGTS, I'm fulfilling God's purpose in my life. And He can work through us because we're willing to be used by Him.
It is a relationship that is built, and that sense of family just goes everywhere. I don't know a listener who doesn't come up to talk to us that just doesn't consider us part of their family.
We need to keep the ministry. We need to even expand it because Jesus Christ is soon to come.
It's so important in some people's lives. Like, that's the first thing I listen to every day in the morning and the last thing I listen to every day at night.
I feel that I'm part of a family, and I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. So I know that there are a lot of people out there that this is their connection. And if you take that away, what am I going to have?